Let's get to Ryan.
Wiggins!
Oh, Wiggins!
Hey, the whole gang's back together. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Good enough, anyway. I'll caffeine through today.
Okay.
Got to get a little more sleep tonight. I got to catch up. So the topic that I brought today is a little bit more social, of course. Not entirely social media, but a little bit more about your phone. Question for the room, and Leah's in here too. Hi, Leah.
Oh, hi.
Do you have a tough time putting it down? Are you very disciplined with your phone, or do you find yourself in places where you know maybe I shouldn't be using it right now, you still use it?
No, I think that if you're in a position to, I have gotten much better at it. The only thing I don't put my phone on the table when I'm at business meetings or at a dinner or something with somebody. It's not enough to put the phone face down. Put it away, maybe in your pocket or something. So if it vibrates or whatever, it's key to have vibrations. You can set vibrations on your phone that go different ways, so you can
I
know
didn't
where.
know that.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe not
man.
on your iPhone.
Hold on.
Yeah, you might
I
catch
was
it.
going to
Oh.
say, she's got a Samsung. You've got an iPhone, and I haven't dug into the new iPhone iOS yet to see if that
You
is
can't
an
do that on
option.
iPhone?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
Dang, that seems like something that should be obvious that I
feel
should have
like-
known
I
already.
feel like if you can...
I need to know if you can do that on iPhone because that is so basic.
Yeah.
Because
I
you
need
can,
to know it too.
Like I can have a buzz for Jared texting me, or I can set one if my kids are staying somewhere, the phone that they would call me from, so that I know like that's a kid thing.
Yeah. So you know you got to get that one.
Or okay, that's an email. I don't need to check
Right.
that now.
Right.
So I've set my phone up so that there are only several instances where in a professional setting or in a situation with a friend, if I were out with them, that I would pull that phone out. But I've tried to do specific things to put it away.
So you say keeping your phone on the table would be like saying, hey, I am talking to you, but I'm also monitoring the phone.
It's
so
like
keeping it down.
everybody who you would be contacting on that phone is sitting right there at that table with you.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that's
That-
what you mean.
put it-
Okay.
Put it out of sight. It doesn't have to be completely out of mind, but out of respect to the people you're with. Focus on those people.
Brad is on his phone right now.
Yes.
He's also producing a show.
Yes. So, I was just looking. Yeah, you can on iPhone. You can customize your notifications.
There you go.
Thank
Just
you.
a little tip for the Apple users. Welcome to the Android life.
How about you, Brad, for this question? Is it something you have a tough time putting aside?
Only because my job is so dependent on what everything happens with my phone.
And always got to be current.
Yeah. So, I feel like I'm
Because
on...
Ryan Wiggins won't stop
If
that
I,
Sam.
if I were
1
not...
a.m. Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. Good grief. You won't leave me alone.
Here's a
So
meme.
what you doing? I was like, Ryan, are you taking a bubble bath again and calling me? No.
No, there's no bubbles.
Hey, I was only gone for a few days.
That's right.
But what I
There's
missed?
probably no water in the tub either, right?
It's very depressing.
um,
It's all champagne.
there are bubbles in champagne, right?
Oh yeah.
tiny bubbles.
If I were on my phone as much as I am now but I wasn't doing this job, yeah, it would be a big problem. But I feel like there's part of my job that requires me to be on it.
Leah, our Gen Zer.
Yeah, I'm not representing myself really well here. Yeah, I am on my phone a lot. I'd say mostly for like good reasons, but definitely a lot of just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. But
So Annie, I'm with you. I'm trying very hard to, at least with events, like church events especially, small groups, I'm actually
When
trying
you're
to just
doing
leave
communion and you're like
it. Yeah.
checking
What's
your...
this? Oh, hey, check it out.
The body of Christ.
Oh, this G.I. Joe meme is super funny.
Check this out.
I'm trying to leave it in the car, not even with me, because if it's in my pocket, I'll still think about it. And I'm trying to get to the point where if I know I'm going to be somewhere where I don't need to know anything, like for church, for instance, my kids are with me. They're there.
Yeah.
So I don't have to. The emergency thing is really not even an excuse. So I'm trying to leave it aside. There is new research out of Granada, which is in Spain. It says that our need for social contact could be the actual reason so many of us are glued to our devices, according to this research. The study published in the Journal of Psychothema is the first evidence of this theory. UGR scientists work with 86 people who were divided into two groups. Now, here were the first group was the social experimentation group. Each participant was told to send a message And since this is international, they said WhatsApp, but I think that's basically like texting. They just get around fees internationally to do that. So send a text to your most active contacts explaining that you're going to be in a study in a virtual reality universe. The second group, with a control group, was instructed not to send a message to any of their contacts. Next, all participants were asked to switch off their notifications and leave their mobile phones face down while they did some other activity. It was in that moment that they're monitoring their brain waves that the group that sent the text was anxious.
Anxious, waiting to what did they
Yes.
say back?
What's that?
They,
what would they
want-
respond?
They're
Yeah.
thinking in their mind. They're thinking about the conversations
Yes.
that they're having while they're doing the other task.
Exactly. And the group that didn't send any of those texts, much more calm. Now, on the back end of that, though, once they were done with the activity, I'm going to try to use their words here because it's a little weird. We found that the group became more anxious. That was the early one. But once they got their phones back, that same group that had sent the text experienced a much higher level of emotional arousal, they said. And the other group, pretty flat. So what they concluded was
So the highs aren't as high and the lows aren't as lows.
that's exactly right. That
That's where I like to live.
So I wanted to see if that was me because whenever I initiate a text, I feel obligated to wait for that person to respond because I feel like, well, I initiated, I need to respond back whenever they get back to me, regardless of when that is. The reverse is not always true. If somebody texts me, I'll get back to them as soon as I can. But do you feel like that obligation the same way as I do?
That's interesting because so you feel the anxiousness when you send the text that you have
Yes.
an obligation, but whenever somebody texts you, you don't worry about them being on the other side feeling anxious about.
That's correct. Yeah, I still get back to them as soon as I can, but I feel like I have to watch my phone if I'm the one that asked the question
Man,
or initiated it.
For me, it's 100% about the importance of the topic that I texted about. If it's a throwaway thing or a funny thing, whatever, just throw it out there and it's out there and they'll get to it when they get to it. If it's like, I need an answer to this because it affects what I'm going to do next in my day or on the show or whatever, then I pay a little more attention to it.
You?
What's the question?
Are you more likely to look at your phone longer when you initiate a text?
Well, yeah, obviously.
So you feel obligated in the same way.
Yeah, just like if I walked into your office to ask you a question, I wouldn't just leave and make you come find me.
That's a good example.
I would wait for a response. But I don't know. With today's social norms, people just kind of like,
But you could just walk up and ask
I
me a
have
question.
something really important to ask you, and I'm going to ask it to you right now. You come find me when you have an answer. But
Yeah.
it better be fast.
You should walk into my office and go, man, Ryan, I have some great topics today. You're not going to believe 104, and then gone.
I'm out. Yeah.
The results of this study, though, and this is where I thought, I'm not sure if I agree with this, and this is where I want to know if you do. They said that from these findings, the team determined that our affiliation with mobile phones is linked to the way they enable us to interact with others rather than actually being addicted to the phone itself. That you're addicted to the social aspect of having the phone.
Well, the idea of being addicted to the social aspect of having a phone is not a new thing. It's just a different mechanism to materialize social interaction that every human craves.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm so fearful for this generation that is being raised with cell phones because they're spending, I mean, kids are getting phones at the regular before they're 10 years old. They are not learning how to socialize with one another. If you're the mean parent that doesn't give their kids phones to have access to all the time, then they sit there with all of their friends who are on their phones and they're left out. So then you have to ask yourself what to do about that because the socialization takes place that way. But I'm noticing this just in society as a whole. People walk around with headphones on and earbuds. I remember when I went to New York City and I saw people walking on the streets with headphones, it made so much more sense to me. This idea that you would want to be in this big city and you would be spending a lot of time walking, which is not the way it happens in suburban life or rural life for sure, that you use that time to put headphones on and listen to a podcast or listen to music or whatever because you're going from point A to point B and there's so many people everywhere all of the time.
You're creating personal space.
You're creating personal space. But that becomes, like the Starbucks cup in your hand is an icon. It's a status. The headphones on, it's like, I don't need anybody else. And that's what society is telling us right now, that you don't need anybody else, that you yourself, exactly the way you are, is just perfectly fine the way you are. You don't need anyone else, and it is against everything that we were created to be. And so the idea that you need we have now determined that the thing that we always needed, we can access through our phone, but it is never going to be enough.
Yeah.
And the deep dive that these kids are making right now to try to fill these holes of social gratification, I mean, the internet is endless.
And this is a facsimile. This is a cheaper version of
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
human interaction.
It's not real at all.